everyone, this is Yana, and today I will be showing you a card using several different Spellbinders dies and some papers from Graphic 45. Now this card is going to be very different from the typical cards that I do in my clean and simple die cutting video series. And well, that's because I sometimes like to create more dimensional, more detailed, more, I don't know, layered cards, I guess. So today this video is going to be show you how I create these kinds of cards. So when I start working on a card like that, I like to take out the dies that I plan to use and place them on my work surface. I then just take them out of the packaging and I play around with them. I try to combine different dies. I see if they go well together. I decide if I like what the dies look like together or not. I experiment. So I simply just stack the dies together first, and then I move on to die cutting. Now for cards like this, I have a special kind of paper that I like to use, or like special manufacturers, paper from special manufacturers that I like to use. So I very much like using papers from Graphic 45 for cards like this. I also like using papers from First Edition. This is a a brand from UK, from Trimcraft. And I think that papers from die cuts with a view will also go well for cards like this. You know, papers that have some kind of glitter or texture on them. I think these would look really awesome as well. But for this particular project today, I'm going to be using the Botanical Tea collection from Graphic 45. So I've picked a few different patterns from this collection, and I plan to use both sides of the paper. Now the Graphic 45 paper is double-sided, so I decided I wanted to utilize both sides, both designs from one paper. So this is what I'm going to be doing for the base of my card. I will be combining both sides of the paper, and then I will be using some other patterns as well. So here I'm using some dies from the Card Creator Border dies collection, and I'm simply placing them onto my paper, and notice that I'm using the washi tape, a little bit of washi tape. You can also use some painter's tape for this. I'm using it to tape my dies down. Now I want to make sure that they stay in place and they do not move while I'm cutting, and that they cut exactly where I want. Now I not only cut all of my elements, I also emboss them, but in order to save time on the video, I cut that part out and speed it up a little bit. Now notice that these particular dies that I'm using for my borders, they not only cut the border, but they also create these little holes, I guess. Now I absolutely love these holes because I can use them to add some hand stitching to my cards. Now to do that, to add that hand stitching, I'm first using a little needle here, and I'm sort of like enlarging the holes and making sure they're large enough for my needle to go through. And then I just simply hand stitch using some white or cream thread to add that extra little nice extra detail to my card. So here I have the two borders stitched, and I glued them together. Now notice that I didn't put any double-sided tape on the end of my paper. I did that because I knew I was going to add some more stitching around my card, and I did that on my sewing machine. Now whenever I'm doing this, whenever I'm adding some stitching on my sewing machine, I'm trying to avoid placing double-sided tape where that stitching is gonna go, because I know that it can damage the sewing machine or it can damage the needle, and this way I'm trying to minimize that kind of damage. So I'm not placing any double-sided tape on the places where the machine stitching is going to go. So just keep that in mind and try to plan ahead and not place any double-sided tape there. So the base of my card is pretty much ready now, and I moved on to die cutting some additional elements. So here I have a little banner, then a little like a tag or a label, and I'm also die cutting a little butterfly here. Now, I've used some white paper for this, and the kind of paper that I'm using is actually a watercolor paper. It's a little bit heavier than my regular paper or than my regular white cardstock, and I like using it because when I emboss it on my machine, I also have some I guess additional texture, or the embossing shows through better, so that's why I like using that kind of paper for some die cuts of mine. Now I'm using some regular glue. This is like a PVA glue or something, and I'm simply placing some white pearls on the base of my card. I didn't have any self-adhesive pearls, so that's why I had to use glue, but I think it added some really nice extra touch to my card. I really like these pearls on the background there. You know, they make my card extra special, and I really like adding pearls to these types of dimensional and multi-layer cards. Now I've die cut another butterfly, as you can see here, and I've also die cut another banner. And what I'm doing here is I'm layering both of them, like I'm layering both butterflies, and I'm layering both banners together, and I'm creating a little, I guess, a shadow. I'm offsetting my top die cut just a teeny tiny bit to create a nice shadow and a nice, I don't know, like additional dimension, I guess. Here you can see me adhering that butterfly to the base of my card, to that fancy label, and because my butterfly is consists of 2 layers, the wings are going to be a little bit more dimensional and I guess a bit more fluffy. Now for my sentiment, I die cut that fancy label there in the middle, and I stamped a Heartfelt Wishes sentiment. This is a sentiment from one of the Hero Arts very old stamp sets. I'm not sure if they're still manufactured, but I really like that handwritten Heartfelt Wishes sentiment. Now I used some foam adhesive in the center to secure that fancy label, and then I used some floss from Weird Memory Keepers, and I threaded that through the fancy label, and I ran the floss around my card, and then I secured it with double-sided tape on the back. Finally, I used some double-sided tape to adhere that die cut design to my card base, and I was able to create a top folding A2 card. I also decorated it a bit on the front, on the back, and on the inside, and that pretty much finished my card for today. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I thank you for watching.